success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Success is getting what you want. Fulfillment is living what you're made for. Most of us have been conditioned not to take a risk. People ask me all the time, what does it take to be happy? And I always tell them it's really simple. One word, progress. Progress equals happiness. If you keep growing, you're gonna feel alive. And if you keep growing, you're gonna have more to give. And when you're growing and giving is when life is magnificent. It doesn't matter how many statues, Oscars they give you, or Emmys, or how much money you have in the bank. We've all seen people have all those things, and I get the phone call because they're depressed, or somebody commits suicide in that area. So it's really an inner game, and I think that's what's missing for us today. Everybody's focusing on the outside world, and how there's a lot of things in the outside world you'll never be able to control. You can influence, but you can't control it. This, your mind, your emotions, your body, you have 100% control over what you do with these things, and that's where the game is won. You win the inner game, then you win the outer game. But a lot of people spent their life trying to win the outer game, they won, and they're miserable. Someone can tell you your whole life you're a piece of crap, but you can say, screw you, read between the lines and make your life work. Someone can tell you your whole life you're beautiful, you're intelligent, you're the smartest person in the world, and you don't believe it. Because self-esteem doesn't come from what people say about you. Self-esteem is earned within yourself. It's esteem for yourself, which only comes by doing things that are incredibly difficult, and then your brain goes, this is who I am. You really gotta figure out what you're made for, and nobody knows in the beginning. So you start where you are and you do what's in front of you, do what's next, and you keep growing until you start to discover, hey, this is my real passion, this is my real hunger and drive, and it can change. People go for 5, 6, 7 years and then they usually question their business, their career, their body, their relationships. And then one of two things happens. They change direction and feel renewed, or they go, no, I got a great deal here, what the hell's wrong with me? And they recommit and they get stronger. But that's life, and if you don't grow, I don't give a damn how much you got going for you, you're gonna be miserable. So identity is the #1 thing I work to change with people, to expand it, not to get rid of it, but expand your own sense of who you really are and what you're capable of. The mindset has to be destroy any limitation and move forward, move forward, move forward. There is a way, move forward. And I think if you watch this, it's like taking off on a plane from, I'm in Texas right now. If I flew from Dallas here to go to Hawaii, you're off course about 90% of the time. I'm a pilot. What if every time you're off course, oh my God, I'm off course. Oh, I should freak out. Oh my God, I'm off course again. But you just tack back and forth and you land exactly where you want to be, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 miles, away. And I think that's how we have to navigate. I think passion is the genesis of genius. If you've got enough passion, you're gonna find answers nobody else does, but most people run out of fuel, meaning they get tired, they get exhausted, they get burnt out, they get, the law of familiarity. They're around something so much, they take it a little bit for granted. And I've managed to see something in myself that I found in every great leader that I've ever respected, and that is, I value intelligence immensely, but I know really smart people can't fight their way out of a paper bag pragmatically, right? What I see is the one common denominator of people that are successful over a lifetime is the sustained hunger. Hunger is the #1 factor. When I see somebody, I don't care what age they are, I don't care what their background is, if they're hungry to improve, to change, to make something happen, you need to be good at pattern recognition, and that's what gets somebody strong at anything. I mean, you look at, why is Amazon doing so well? He realized one pattern was valued over anything else, convenience, right? If you look at Tom Brady, a friend of mine, he's got pattern recognition like nobody else at 43 years old. He's able to do things no one dreamed could be done. He's got more Super Bowl rings than any team. So I said, I want to go to the best people on earth and see what do they see that none of us see. What's the pattern? Then you gotta learn pattern utilization. It's one thing to see it, it's another thing to use it. And then if you're good after a while, you get to pattern creation. It's like if you learn to play the piano, most people play other people's music, and then there's a point you've learned so much that you're able to create. No problem is permanent. Or you start thinking the problem's pervasive because I haven't handled my finances, my whole world's over, or because my relationship's bad, my whole world's over. Your life is bigger than that. Or all this is happening because there's something wrong with me. When you get to that point, you stop trying. And so my goal right now is to shake that up for people. People need a new perspective, and you can't do it by just sitting and thinking. You gotta move your body. You gotta change your energy and your focus, because low level of energy, I don't give a how smart you are, you're not gonna use all your ability. But if I get you into a higher state of being, mentally, emotionally, physically, then all of a sudden you start remembering who you are and you start coming up with answers that you never even thought were possible before. If identity is how you've identified yourself, and you see yourself as a procrastinator, why? Because you procrastinated so many times and disappointed, you don't want to be disappointed. So now you're a procrastinator, you're no longer disappointed. You feel certain, you'll never have your goals, but you feel certain. That's what most people do in their life. But if you set, let's say, a thermostat in this room at 78 degrees and the temperature drops far enough, something's gonna happen. Because the computer's gonna go, hey, you're at 78 degrees, what are you doing here at 68? And the heaters kick on and suddenly you get this drive. I'm sure your listeners or viewers have had this experience many times in their life where finally it's not another day, I'm changing this relationship, I'm losing this weight, I'm gonna finally do something. And then you push. Now some people push and they go beyond their comfort zone, beyond what they expect, not their goals. It's what they're used to, it's their comfort zone. The law of familiarity is what destroys a relationship. You get around somebody enough, you love them, but you don't have the same passion, the same aliveness. And I'm just not willing to settle for a life without passion and aliveness. That's just like, there's so much to learn, there's so much to grow, there's so much to give, and I'm wired to grow and give. And I think anybody who gets wired to grow and give is gonna have a really fulfilling life. It doesn't matter what you choose to do, you're gonna be alive, because you're gonna make progress, and because you made progress, you have something to give. And we all, like, some people think they just wanna get, but you get, and it's pretty damn boring, and it doesn't really expand your sense of identity of who you are. But if you're constantly growing and then taking what you learn, you're so excited about it, you share with other people and their life gets better, whether that be software you make or dresses you design or something you do in the health space that really gets people to enjoy their food while they're eating well. If you have those passions and you keep growing, there's no limit. It doesn't matter what happens in the short term with a pandemic or with a drop in the economy or whatever the case may be. These are all temporary when you realize life is lived in decades, not in days. Good times create weak people. Weak people create bad times. Bad times create strong people. Strong people create great times. You go through so many changes in here. It's like, that's what we need today. We need to re-engineer ourselves. If you've ever seen one of these Baja races, 1,000 miles in the desert, or there's a million different races that if you took a normal car, you'd be out of it and probably die in the first day or so. But what they've done is re-engineer the shock absorbers, the size of the tires, the engine system. And we need to re-engineer ourselves for winter. We need to re-engineer ourselves so that we can thrive, not just survive during this time. And that's what I'm seeing people do in their life and their businesses. I mean, it's been really, I know it sounds crazy, but it's been one of the more beautiful times. I hate the fear that's been generated in so many people unduly. I mean, this CDC themselves, I wrote this in my book, there's a section in my health book, and I quote directly from the CDC. What's the number one risk factor other than age? 80% of people die of COVID, 79.8% are overweight and obese, extremely overweight, something you can easily do something about, nobody talks about. And number two is fear, because the anxiety makes people change their breath, they can't fully oxygenate. So it's like, there's a lot within our control if we just wake up. But the beautiful part of COVID is a lot of people waking up to what's possible, seeing where it is, seeing how they could change their entire business. Because when things happen, and they're gonna be unjust things, it doesn't matter the color of your skin, it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter what country you're from. Injustice is everywhere. It's gonna happen to all of us at various times, right? Or it may not just be injustice, just like, wow, you got cancer. I mean, it's like, what do I do to deserve this? It isn't like that. It's not something you earn by brownie points. It's like, okay, what am I gonna do with what life has brought me? And my greatest growth that's helped me help so many other people is because, if someone tells me I got a tumor in my brain and I'm gonna die, and I'm like, I don't accept that, right? I got a torn rotator cuff and there's, you're gonna have to go through 6 months of rehab. I'm not gonna accept that. There's gotta be another way. Most decisions are made unconsciously. And like 48% of what we do, depending on which doctor you read, is about habit. What's great about habit is you don't have to think. What's bad about habit is you don't change, right? And so most people make these decisions unconsciously, but what are they? One, you decide every moment of your life, you're making a decision consciously or unconsciously what to focus on. So if you focus on the worst scenario, of course you're gonna feel sick to your stomach, right? And then you find out it's not true and you're fine, right? focus equals feeling, but there's patterns of focus. So if I asked your audience right now, or all you guys, what do you think most people focus on more? What they have or what's missing? What's missing? And including super achievers. Like some of the biggest achievers are always focusing on what's missing because they're always trying to get to the next level. So what happens? As a result, when you're always focused on what's missing, you cannot sustain happiness. It has nothing to do with how intelligent you are. It's just like software. So you always look at what's missing, so you never feel fulfilled or alive, right? And so you keep being on the hamster wheel trying to do more, and it's never enough. That's what people end up being, pushing and pushing and pushing, and you see them burn out, they have everything, and they're miserable. Second pattern, do you think most people focus on what they can or can't control? Can't is most people. But for the average population, and during COVID, there's so much you can't control. It's easy to be focused on what you can't control, right? So what do you think happens to somebody who's constantly focusing on what's missing and constantly focusing on what they can't control? They're gonna be pissed or angry, overwhelmed, or stressed or depressed. Then add the third one, and I gave you a dozen, we'll just do three. What do you think most people spend their time more? The past, the present, or the future? Depends on the person. Right. Most achievers focus on the future. You are correct. Most people who are unhappy and frustrated, which unfortunately is the majority of humans, most people are not happy and thrilled and have a great body and a great relationship. We all can, but very few people do because they're focused on the past, and usually they can't change it. Or they focus on a future that they're concerned about. Yeah. And either way, they're stressed. So I ask people, I got 20,000 people in a stadium, they'll say, how many of you know somebody who takes antidepressants and they're still depressed? And 85% of the hands go up. But the point is, when you change those decisions, like the first decision is focus, then the second decision is, what does it mean? The minute you focus on something, you gotta, what does it mean? So you wake up and feel like shit, what does it mean? Well, I effed up last night, or it's the end of the world, like or it doesn't matter, right? The meaning creates your life. But when you said emotional home, what I learned is that people have an emotional home. Like some people, I'm sure you know, no matter what happens, they're pissed off. Or no matter what happens, they're worried. They worry about other people and themselves. Or you know somebody that's not funny, but they think they are. And no matter what happens, they have a good time, right? Like if you think, God is punishing you, that's why this is happening, which some people do, or God is challenging me, or is this a gift from God, this problem? Or has it got nothing to do with God? I'm just a lazy bitch, I'm not doing anything, right? Or is somebody dissing me? Are they disrespecting me? Or are they challenging me? Are they coaching me? Are they loving me? Or relationship. Is it the end or the beginning? You think it's the end of relationship, you behave very differently than the beginning relationship. So the meanings we select change how we feel instantly. And because we have habits of meanings, people have habits of emotion where they kind of live. So you see people in some part of the country and you feel for them, like they come by and a cyclone destroys their home or a flood or whatever. And then you see them picking up what's left of their life and you pray for them, you care for them. And then 3 years later it happens again, and 3 years it happens again, and you go like, why don't they move? Because it's what they know. Right. And we have an emotional home that we rarely move from, that we find a way to get back to. But if you change these three patterns, what you focus on, what things mean, finding empowering meaning, and then what you do is controlled by how you feel. If you're pissed, you're gonna behave differently than if you're feeling good. So those three patterns literally control your life. So those three patterns, if you do all three of them, if you constantly look at what's missing, it's hard to ever stay fulfilled or happy. Yeah. So you have to always do something to try to make yourself happy because you're always noticing what's missing. That's just where your focus goes. There's always something missing. There's always something that's not missing. There's always something beautiful. If you focus on what you have, you're gonna be more fulfilled. Second one, if you focus on what you can control, what you do, it's why you have your own business, it's why who you are. A lot of people focus on what they can't control. It's overwhelming, they're stressed out, they think of all those things. So if you constantly focus on what's missing, you can't control, and the past, which you can't change, what that makes is either angry or sad or frustrated or depressed. Like if you wanted to go do I don't know if you're into racing at all, but like a Le Mans, a 24-hour race, or a Baja 1000, you could have an amazing car, Ferrari, it's not gonna last. You have to re-engineer that car to be able to take on the desert or drive for 24 hours or go to the ones that are in the desert there where they have a pipe so that when you go down, it still can get the air to the combustion of the engine. Yeah. We have to re-engineer ourselves to the times we're in. People don't experience life. They experience the life they focus on. Right. So right now, if you're happy, you are deleting all the things you could be pissed off about or frustrated or worried about in the world. Yeah. If you're unhappy, you're deleting all the things that are great in your life. Wow. And our brains delete and they distort and they generalize. So if you don't direct it, you get whatever shows up. What's wrong is always available. What's wrong in the world, it's always available. What's right is also available. It's just which one you pick. And it isn't about positive thinking, because I've never been into positive thinking. People think that's what I do. It's not. I believe in intelligence. And so when you're in a lousy state of mind, you treat people poorly, you don't perform at the highest level, you're not happy. Yeah. When you're in a great state of mind, you treat people better, perform at a different place. And it's one of the reasons the humor is so valuable. Yeah. It changes people's state. And all of a sudden they're in a different place. They respond in a different place when they're laughing than when they're pissed off.
Yeah.
So why not train yourself to do that? You've trained yourself to find what's entertaining or funny in just about anything. It's what makes you as good as you are in that area. You have developed patterns of how to do it. You may not even be conscious of them all. Yeah, there's 3 decisions you're making every moment you're alive. Your audience can test this out. The first one is, what are you going to focus on? Now, when I say you make these decisions, Theo, I don't mean you're making them all consciously, right? So whatever you focus on, that's what you feel. If you're supposed to meet your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whoever at 7 o'clock, you get there at 7, they're not there. Some people are pissed off. Some people are worried. It's the same event. If it's 7:30 and they're not there, they've not called, they not text. Now what are you feeling? Some people go, I'm really pissed off. I'm really worried. It's 8:30, you haven't showed up. I'm full. I didn't wait for the bastard. But the point is, whether you're angry or whether you're worried had nothing to do with the event. It's the habits of your mind. The person who's worried thinks, well, maybe they're in a car accident. The person's pissed off, they did it again. So the first decision you make is, what are you going to focus on? And most people have patterns of focus.
Yeah,
so there's 3 I'll give you, your audience can test out. Do you tend to focus more on what you have or what's missing?
What's missing?
Yeah. Do you tend to focus more on what you can control or what you can't control?
Probably what I can control, but it's out of desperation because I feel like I have to control everything.
Well, that's not a bad thing. You can't control everything, right? It's an illusion, but you can influence so much. You can control everything in you.
Okay.
And then the third one, do you tend to focus more on the past, the present, or the future?
The past.
Yeah. So those 3 patterns, if you do all 3 of them, if you constantly look at what's missing, it's hard to ever stay fulfilled or happy.
Yeah.
So you have to always do something to try to make yourself happy, because you're always noticing what's missing. It's just where your focus goes. There's always something missing. There's always something that's not missing. There's always something beautiful. If you focus on what you have, you're going to be more fulfilled. Second one, if you focus on what you can control, what you do, it's why you have your own business. It's why who you are. A lot of people focus on what they can't control. It's overwhelming. They're stressed out. They think of all those things. So if you constantly focus on what's missing, you can't control, and the past, which you can't change, what that makes is either angry or sad or frustrated or depressed. Like if you wanted to go do I don't know if you're into racing at all, but like a Le Mans, a 24-hour race, or a Baja 1000, you could have an amazing car, Ferrari, it's not going to last. You have to re-engineer that car to be able to take on the desert or drive for 24 hours or go to the ones that are in the desert there where they have a pipe so that when you go down, it still can get the air to the combustion of the engine.
Yeah.
We have to re-engineer ourselves to the times we're in.